Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Data 101 series. Today, we're going to be talking about website data analytics and CRO, Crow, not a very irritating blackbird, a different type of CRO, different type of Crow. So I shall hand you over to Tommy, who will tell you a little bit more.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeremy. So yeah, this is just past the midway point, and then the next one will be all about dashboarding, which is going to be exciting because it'll be a collab between me and Jeremy on that one. So we'll start off. Essentially, I'd say there's four key areas. It's not the only thing. There are you can do product analysis as well, integrated with your marketing mix and things like that. But I'd like to say these are the four quite crucial analysis when it comes to understanding your website marketing and content performance, which is all to do with your online digital experience. So very, very important analysis pieces to sort of start activating your data. So the first one, which a lot of marketers do, maybe not perfectly, and there's definitely you know ways to improve, but from what I've seen anyway. But you can start looking at obviously your marketing performance analysis. So you're going to combine all your marketing data, so impressions, clicks, cost data, spend data, uh, and ideally Google Analytics data. Do not use your conversion data and platform. They are super biased. You should be using your Google Analytics or any web analytics. Doesn't have to be Google specifically. But obviously, that's the most popular tool of choice, and given that it's free for smaller businesses. To use the conversion data there and possibly session data, combine that with your cost clicks data, so you can start seeing cost per acquisition if you're an e-com business, or cost per lead if you're more of a lead gen business, and start analyzing your campaign performance, start getting that idea. Then audience analysis, knowing who your audiences are. And again, Google Analytics is a really good tool, and it's not the only tool. Like, we can start looking at customer data platforms, integrated maybe CRMs. I put the add CRM bit element, but that's pretty advanced stuff. I think even just GA4 on its own is pretty good at starting to understand your audiences. And we spoke briefly in the SEO topic as well around content attribution, performance analysis. Again, that's a type of analysis still vital, so we include it in here. So again, using GA4, you start identifying content, whether it be a landing page, so there's an okay perspective to look at, but also maybe looking at more content-driven, data-driven sort of attribution modeling, sort of identify different touch points and giving a value, and start sort of helping you to understand your SEO performance a little bit better, specifically on the content SEO side. And then finally, I think, which leads us into conversion rate optimization, is website improvement. So you can start looking at your website from maybe a conversion funnel perspective, a user experience perspective, whatever it may be, or even just top line device level, like we mentioned earlier. But start understanding what devices are working for your website in terms of conversions, conversion rates. Maybe look at your conversion funnel for your e-com business, looking at from sessions to product detail views to add to carts to checkout steps, and purchases, and all the drop-offs in between. Where's the pain points on your website? And by using tools like Google Analytics 4, but also maybe combining that with qualitative data. So Google Analytics 4 is quantitative. You can start looking at heat maps, session recordings. Maybe you can even set up user testing. So this kind of tees us up for conversion rate optimization. Essentially, it looks at a proportion of your users and how they converted, and it looks to just optimize that in essence and create better engagement as well. Now, I like to say, some people like to think conversion, because of the word conversion, that's purely conversion driven. That's very narrow-minded. Yes, conversion is the end point. You always got to drive the end point, the end user, the end conversion, the end sale. That's obviously going to be the end goal. But you have to also look at the middle, like the engagement on the website and things like that, because in turn, better engagement, it's going to lead to more conversions and things like that. User getting generally a better experience. So I think CRO is not just about the end result; it's also about the middle as well. So just something to flag there. But it's not just driving more conversion rates, but it's also looking at better user experience as well. That's why UX and CRO are a team to be reckoned with. They join forces, and they will really help bolster your website overall. So the process we just want to talk about. So I say conversion rate optimization is a channel in its own right. Sometimes some people can do conversion rate optimization analytics. I personally, I personally prefer the analytics side, so I'm more tailored towards the analytics more than the CRO. But like some people like to have dual. I think CRO is its own channel, its own complexity, and it has a lot of it has a quite a large process really if you want to do it properly. So you obviously start with research, that's the analysis side, that's generating hypothesis. Just yeah, after you've done all that analysis, yeah, try and think where the problems are, what could be the solutions, uh, maybe drawing a wireframe. What are you going to change on a website? You're going to change a button or something like that, move something up closer to the top of the, a core call to action or something like that. It might not be evident on the web, it might be further down on the page. You want to move it up because you think that's going to lead to more users converting, whatever it may be. Obviously defining KPIs as well for that. And again, goes back to the measurement framework we talked earlier on in the series. Having a really good measurement framework is really going to help you with this as well. Make sure you've got all the good tracking in place so you can have good KPIs. Because, like I said, you don't want the primary KPI always to be, a lead form submission or a purchase. It might be something else that will eventually, hopefully, lead to better, more purchases, more leads that further down the line, but not always the case. So you still want to define the KPIs. You don't want to just assume it's just the one on your website. Then you're going to launch the experiment. You're going to launch the experiment. And this is the point I was mentioning briefly before. Is it right for everyone? It's more this middle section here. It's the experiment part. So by experiment, we mean you're going to likely do, it could be an A/B test. And an A/B test just means, say you pick a page like your home page, you've created a hypothesis, you want to change something, but to do it properly, to understand if it's going to have a positive impact from a data point of view, you should do an A/B test, and you use a tool for that. And there's loads of tools out there that will enable you to do that, and you still keep the original and maybe direct, say, 50% of your traffic to the original, and then you direct 50% to the change you want to do, and you make sure you've got all the measurement and KPIs defined in each of your tools. That was going to help you analyze that after you've launched it. So yeah, you build it, then launch that. And then you monitor. Obviously, it may take a period of time, a few weeks, before it reaches what they call statistical significance. Again, goes into the stats side. We won't bore you with that at the moment. I know Jeremy's going to talk around some more fancy stuff with all the econometric stuff at the moment. But once you're happy with it, you analyze it, see if it reached conclusions. Was there a clear winner? That's, again, there might be a winner, but there's also, you've got to state if it's a clear winner. Again, another type of statistical analysis you need to like infer from that. And sometimes things fail. Actually, around 80% of them do. They don't, well, not fail. I don't like to say fail. Fail implies negative. It might still be a positive, but not a clear winner to actually justify making the change. And actually, you'll be surprised, 80% there's not really clear winners, and maybe a slight even drop in that conversion rate depending on the KPI you're looking at. But actually, the whole point is, you learn from it. You do the analysis on that. You identify what was it that went wrong, and generally you find out more than you did before, and then you generate more hypothesis, and then you do the repeat process. So that's the general conversion rate optimization process. And we were saying before, and I want to come back to that, around the experiment part. So something to do with the experiment part. When you're A/B testing or ABC, there's different. You can do multivariate testing. We can go into it in a lot more detail, but and if you do have further questions on conversion rate optimization, we'll be happy to talk about it in a little bit more detail. But the experiment side, when you're doing even just an A/B test, for example, you have to analyze how long is it going to take for it to reach significance, and that was one point there. Well, there's two main factors there. There is how many site visitors do you have on that's visiting that page, maybe you're changing a thing on, and how many variants you putting on. So is it an ABC, so it's an AB, ABC, ABCD, how many things are you changing it in one go, and then what's your conversion rate? The combination will, using a statistical technique like chi-squared or something like that, you can it will tell you roughly how many days it will take for it to reach significance before you can stop the experiment. And generally speaking, to do any sort of A/B testing, you want at least 100,000 sort of visitors in a month, and give or take with conversion rates. That can vary a little bit, but rule of thumb, you need a minimum of 100,000 visitors on your website to really start doing proper A/B testing. It doesn't mean, oh, we have a site that's less than 100,000. What do? Well, you can still do it, and you can still do CRO program, but without the A/B testing. It's a bit more risky, of course, because you will have to make sort of changes based on without doing an experiment. You're going to have to trust the process and then look at pre and post, and maybe then use other type of statistical techniques to remove, I know, things like seasonality and stuff, because obviously looking at pre and post from a time series perspective, that can be a lot of issues with that. Conversion rate might have just gone up because of the seasonality perspective. So you'd have to remove as much as possible, maybe using statistical techniques to do it. So it's still possible. So even if you're a smaller business, smaller website, less visitors, doesn't mean you can't do a CRO program. It's just limited to what you can do.
Brilliant. Now, I'd imagine that a lot of the people that are going to be watching this have probably never heard of conversion rate optimization before, or if you have, you probably don't know very much about it. So, as always, you can find all of our contact details and socials on the page. Get in touch if you want to find out a little bit more. I know that just touching on it very briefly in a video doesn't always give you all of the information that you need, so I'll be happy to chat further about it. As Tommy said, next week we're going into marketing data reporting, but not just reporting, the automation as well. And this is quite a crucial point because there is so much reporting when it comes to marketing data. When we look at, okay, what's happening now, what's happening next, and it takes a lot of time. So automating that is a crucial part of that process to allow you to analyze and assess it more. Not that I'm trying to whet your appetite too much, but it's going to be great and it's going to be transformational if your reports aren't yet automated. So join us again for that one, and we'll see you all soon.